This construction is completely unauthorized. You owe the association $3,000 in fines.
We followed every rule. Look at the permits in the escrow file.
The night Karen decided to ruin my life, the lake air felt colder than the water. I was standing on the community dock, hands in my hoodie, smelling wet wood and old gasoline, when phones lit up around me like flashing sirens. Karen stomped down the planks in her fuzzy boots, hair flying, holding her phone high. She started reading my full name, my address, my job, even where my little sister went to school. Neighbors stared. Someone's coffee steam curled up into the cold while she yelled that I was some kind of criminal, a threat to the neighborhood. My heart slammed against my ribs. My feet felt nailed to the boards. By the end of her speech, my private life was spread across the dock and the HOA Facebook page at the same time. Karen doxed me on the dock after 48 hours of hearsay, then I pulled the escrow file. That's what this whole mess comes down to. Before that night, it had been 48 hours of whispers and side eyes. 2 days earlier, on May 3, 2024, the HOA email blast went out, suspicious activity reported at the dock. Be on alert. No name, but everyone knew who they meant. I was the only one who fished at dawn. Kids who used to shout "Hey, just look down" and dragged their scooters faster. Every ping on my phone was another comment. Some post said I was breaking into boats. Another said I didn't even live there legally. None of it true. But I could feel the board's silence like a weight. They didn't stop it. They let it grow. I tried to fix it the normal way. I walked into the HOA office, the smell of cheap coffee and printer ink hitting me in the face. I told the president, calm voice, steady hands, that this was defamation, that Karen had no proof. He wouldn't even meet my eyes. He mumbled about letting the process play out. I asked them to remove the post. He said we'll discuss at the next meeting in 2 weeks. 2 weeks. While my info was out there and Karen strutted around like a sheriff. Timeline item 1 April 5 at 4:27 a.m. false trespass call. She had already called the police on me once for lurking while I was literally untangling my fishing line. Patterns of false reports can be prosecuted. I said that out loud. He just shrugged. Neighbors I had helped move couches would not even nod at me. One texted me in secret saying, "Sorry man, we're scared of her." That was the moment something hard clicked into place inside me. I drew my line in the sand. No yelling matches. No vandalism. No trash revenge. I was going to beat her with paper, rules, and daylight. I sat at my kitchen table until midnight, the smell of cold pizza and highlighter ink in the air. I lined up photos, emails, and call logs in a binder. I printed every nasty post, every comment she made, every time she hinted that I was some kind of danger. While I worked, I kept thinking about how she loved to brag that she read every line of every contract. That's when it hit me, our dock, our HOA, all of it was tied to property titles and escrow. If she lied in those papers, that was real trouble. The next morning, I drove to the county office, walked into the records department, and asked for the public documents on her house purchase and dock rights. The clerk typed a bit, then went to the back. When she came back, the file landed with 63 pages on the counter, thick and heavy. In the stale air of that little office, I flipped through the escrow disclosures, the survey maps, the HOA agreements. There it was. Clear as day. Her dock extension, the cute little platform where she hosted wine nights and screamed at kids, was never approved by the city. No permit. No inspection. And in the HOA addendum, she had signed her name under a line that said, "All structures conform to current code and have required approvals." I almost laughed. I made copies of everything. 6 sets. I added them to my binder, labeled things, wrote out a simple sheet, 8 harassment complaints by her against 4 different neighbors, 1 false police report on me, and 1 big undisclosed deck hanging over public water. All of it bought and paid for in black ink. My hands stopped shaking. I was still furious, but now it felt like holding a loaded folder instead of a raw nerve. The next open HOA meeting was on a Thursday at 7:00 p.m. The room smelled like old carpet and nervous sweat. Folding chairs squeaked. People whispered. Karen sat at the front table, her name tag tilted, acting like queen of the cul-de-sac. The president started with boring stuff. Budgets. Landscaping. Then resident concerns. Karen pounced first, pointing right at me. She started up again about safety, about me lurking and trespassing at the dock, saying parents were scared. Phones came out. Neighbors started filming. I waited until she was done, until the room felt tight as a balloon. Then I stood up, held my binder, and walked to the mic. No yelling. Just my calm voice and my stack of receipts. I laid the copies down on the table. I said, here is the timeline of your reports: the false call on April 5th at 4:27 a.m., the doxing post on May 3rd, the dock tirade on May 5th. Here is the escrow disclosure where you swore your dock was legal. Here are the city records saying no permit exists. Her face drained of color right there in front of everyone. The room turned. People leaned in. One neighbor zoomed in on the pages with their phone. Someone in the back actually laughed when I pointed to the line she had signed. The HOA president took off his glasses and rubbed his forehead. I wasn't done. I said I had already emailed the file to the city inspector and the HOA attorney that afternoon. I said this isn't about payback. It's about fairness. You used lies to target me while you hid a real violation. Phones buzzed as notifications popped up. My post with the redacted documents was going live in the neighborhood group. Comments started rolling in right there. Wait, her dock is illegal? She did what to you? Even one of her usual sidekicks slid their chair away from her. For once, Karen didn't have a speech ready. She just sat there, silent, cheeks blotchy red. Within a week, the fallout hit. The city inspector came out, yellow vest bright against the gray dock planks, measuring tape snapping. Karen had to stand there, arms crossed, while he tagged her extension for removal and noted possible fines. The HOA attorney emailed a formal notice that she was being removed as compliance chair for abuse of process. The board voted in front of everyone to require her to post a written apology and to stop contacting me directly. When she tried to argue, the president, the same guy who once shrugged at me, told her that harassment and doxing were violations of both HOA policy and state law. For the first time, the rules were being used to protect me, not just punish me. A few days later, an older neighbor knocked on my door with a plate of cookies and said, "We're glad you stood up." Kids went back to fishing on the dock. The air felt lighter. I sat on the now quiet boards one evening, coffee in hand, watching the sunset glow on the water where her illegal platform used to stick out, and I finally breathed easy again. Please follow for more HOA showdowns like this. Do you think she got what she deserves? Comment below.